Yeah. That's a good thing. That's right. How you doing, brother? How are you?
Something.
I mean, it's like clear.
Yeah, you gotta pull it out.
Yeah, it's like cystic fibrosis or something, you know.
I took it from Mucinex. It's been taking over a week, hoping that if there was something, I'd break it up.
Yeah, it was on Mucinex too.
Yeah.
It didn't work too well.
No. There were certain days that feel better than others. It seemed like it was worse.
We're ready to go. We got everybody in here. We're ready. Being 7 o'clock, we do have a quorum, so we'll call the meeting to order. First items on the agenda are the prayer done by myself, and then we'll have the pledge to both the American and Texas flags. Most gracious God Almighty, our creator of all things, we thank you so much for all the many wonderful blessings you give us each and every day of our life. Keep us mindful of those blessings. Help us remember when we turn those lights on, when we turn on the hot water for a shower in the morning, that we're not all blessed with those things. Help us to keep ourselves humble, that we might understand that you have blessed us and that we are your children. And yet all those around the world are also your children, and that we need to make sure that they have same blessings as we. We ask that you be with us here tonight, that you Give us your wisdom and knowledge that we might have the courage to make the decisions that would be pleasing unto you. We thank you for this country in which we live. We thank you for those people around the world who fight for freedom and for justice. We ask that you be with those who are in hunger, who are in pain, and who are suffering undue hardships. All this we ask in your precious name. Amen. Okay, now I'd like to ask Mr. Butler, Mr. James Butler, if you would come down. And Mr. Butler is one of our local Boy Scouts, and he's going to come down and lead us in the pledges both to the American and to the Texas flag. It's all yours, Mr. Butler. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Mr. Butler. We certainly appreciate your help and your support, sir. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is the public hearing, item number 1. It's a continued public hearing, consideration of an ordinance for a zone change request from specific use district landfill to specific use district landfill, and 2 variances to the Louisville City Code on a 337.268 acre tract located at 801 East College Street, further identified as Louisville Landfill Edition, Lot 1, Block A, as requested by Louisville Landfill TX LP, the property owner. This item was tabled on October 5th, November 2nd, and December the 7th. I believe instead of tabled, that should read it was continued on those dates. Isn't that correct, Counselor?
Yes.
Okay, so it was actually continued on those dates, those council meetings, and to give the applicant time to respond to some concerns raised about the delay in completing College Street and Valley Ridge Boulevard reconstruction. Staff has met with the applicant to discuss the issues since December 7th. There's been some change, but needs to be more change in the status of the project. So the recommendation of staff is that the council continue the public hearing into April 5th of 2010. I do have a card filled out here by Mark Meadows. He is here available for any questions, if you'd like to ask him any questions, and that's the only card I have filled out for that. Councilman Watts?
I move to continue the hearing until April 5th, 2010.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Watts to continue the hearing to April 5th, 2010, a second by Councilman Durham. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is public hearing, consideration of ordinance for zone change request from agriculture open space to light industrial on 3 tracts totaling 4.40 acres located south of Midway Road between Hofords Prairie Road and Barf Neck Road, further identified as tracts 39, 43, and 44 of the S.M. Hayden Survey Abstract 537, as requested by the Van Tile Group on behalf of the property owner. Comments are the proposed zoning classification light industrial is in keeping with the recommendations of the East Louisville Plan and existing zoning in the surrounding area. The applicant would like to rezone in order to expand the existing auto auction facility that they plan to buy. A site plan and plat are being drawn up to combine these tracts and other existing lots into one large lot. Other properties in this area are zoned light industrial and agricultural open space. The Planning and Zoning Commission voted 7-0 in favor of the zone change request of their January 5th, 2010 meeting. The recommendation of staff is the council approve the proposed ordinance amending the Louisville City Code, Chapter 17, the comprehensive zoning ordinance, as set forth in the caption above. I do have one card here filled out by Mr. Von Booker, who is here representing the owner, and he is in support of this, and he's here to answer any questions if you have them at this time. He's actually with G&A Consultants. Councilman Reyna?
I don't have anything that is, unless anybody else does. I move to approve the ordinance.
First, we need to close the public hearing.
I'm sorry, you're correct.
That's all right.
Close public hearing.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Reyna to close the public hearing.
Second.
A second by Councilman Watts. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now, Councilman Reyna, go ahead. That's all right.
Now, just a motion that we approve the proposed ordinance according to what you just read.
Okay, we have a motion to approve as presented by Councilman Reyna.
Second.
A second by Councilman Thornhill. Counselor?
Okay, this is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Louisville, Texas, amending the zoning ordinance of the city, granting zoning changes on the 4.4-acre tract of land located over 3 tracts, fully and completely described in the attached Exhibit A, ordering a change in the use of said property from agricultural open space district zoning to light industrial district zoning, correcting the official zoning map, preserving all other portions of the zoning ordinance, providing a clause relating to severability, determining that the public interests and general welfare demand a zoning change and amendment therein made, providing a penalty, and declaring an emergency.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is the Visitor Citizen Forum. At this time, any person with business before the council not scheduled on the agenda may speak to the council. No formal action can be taken on these items at this meeting. I do not have any cards filled out for anyone that wished to speak. So the next item is the consent agenda. All the following items on the consent agenda are considered to be self-explanatory by the council and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a council member or citizen so requests. For a citizen to request removal of an item, a speaker card must be filled out and submitted to the city secretary. I do not have any cards filled out. Councilman Durham?
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Durham to approve consent agenda, a second by Councilman Tierney. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is item number 5, consideration of amendment to the phasing plan for the Hebron 121 station plan, zone mixed use 90, MU90, bounded by Lakeside Circle to the north, State Highway 121 to the south, the Timber Creek to the west, and the DGNO Railroad to the east. The Hebron 121 station project is a proposed mixed-use development consisting mostly of apartments with retail, commercial, and office components ideally submitted near the DCTA Hebron station in the southern portion of Louisville. The original phasing plan submitted with the zone change request consisted of 3 phases, although the scope of the project remains the same. Changes in the economy and current available financing options have added limitations to the amount that can be constructed at one time. The amended phasing plan breaks construction of the development into 11 phases, with a 12th phase consisting of city property. Staff has been working with the developer to make sure that each phase is able to stand alone in terms of utilities, infrastructure, parking, etc. The developer has stated that if alternative financing becomes available to speed up the process of construction, they would do so since economies of scale work in their favor. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommended unanimous approval 7-0 at the January 5th, 2010 meeting. And I'm going to ask you to hold off just a second.
Yes.
I will be abstaining on this item because the developer, I do some business with the family of the developer. So at this time, I'll ask Mayor Pro Tem Watts to take over.
No problem. Yeah, give me that hand. Councilman Durham?
Mayor, if there's no one has anything else on this, I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion approved by Councilman Durham, seconded by Councilman Grilla. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, next item is item number 6, consideration of an ordinance amending Chapter 9, Article 1 of the Louisville City Code by clarifying noise restrictions and providing exemptions thereto. Chapter 9, Article 1 of the Louisville City Code is amended to define clearly audible while redefining daytime and nighttime hours. The amended ordinance is also reorganized in a more logical format and adds 2 exemptions to the ordinance for local government and school district events. Recommendation of the City Council adopt the proposed ordinance. Councilman Thornhill.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve this item.
Have a motion by Councilman Thornhill to approve.
Second.
Have a second by Councilman Watts. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, let me read the
Oh, I'm sorry.
caption, please.
I'm sorry, yes, sir.
This is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Louisville, Texas, amending the Louisville City Code, Chapter 9, nuisances, Article 1, by adding several definitions, clarifying prohibited noises, and allowing for variances to the noise restrictions, providing for a repealer, providing for severability, providing a penalty, providing an effective date, and declaring an emergency.
We'll retake that vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I apologize, Councilor. Item number 7 is consideration of an ordinance amending the Louisville City Code, Article 4, Parking Regulations, Section 15-126, prohibited parking on specific streets, related to prohibited parking on Savage Street. Louisville Independent School District is renovating the property on Savage Street to serve as a middle school campus in the fall of 2010. Staff has received comments and concerns related to increased vehicular traffic and pedestrian crossing issues on Savage Street and is in support of extending the prohibition of parking along a greater length on Savage Street. The Transportation Board considered this item at the October 20, 2009 meeting and voted unanimously 7-0 to recommend approval of the prohibition of parking along the Savage Street. Recommendation of staff is that council approve the ordinance amending to the Louisville City Code as set forth in the above caption. I do have one person fill out a card here, Paige Chauvin, if you'd like to come forward and speak.
Thank you, Mayor. Paige Chauvin, 617 Price Drive. I just wanted to say I think that's a wonderful idea with all of the debating that has gone back and forth with the parking, that as long as the parking remains the same and the Savage Street residents, which I understand are in favor of this, I think it's a wonderful idea. The more parking we can have there for the middle school kids, the better it's going to be. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilman Tierney.
Thank you, Mayor. I do have a couple questions on this. As it says in the backup, this was brought on by what again? Some concerns by...
There were a couple of
This
residents.
is not requested by the school district, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
There were a couple of residents in the general area that had asked about whether parking restrictions could be extended down Savage Lane.
Couple as in...
2 is my recollection.
Okay.
2 different locations, both of which were in the subdivision up on the northwest side of Savage.
What street were they living in?
I don't recall exactly, Greg. I'd have to go back and look that up.
Okay. And let's go back to the day when the school had come to us for a series of variances when they were moving over there, and as I recall, we didn't grant them any. Is that correct?
Related to parking?
Well, all right, specifically, they requested a variance for parking. What was the parking that they had at the time?
90 spots, I believe.
I'm sorry?
I think it was 90 spots. I have the...
Do we have anything that's confirmed on that?
I don't know.
I have the newspaper article from back then?
Do we have anything that's solid information?
Newspaper wouldn't always.
Let's see, it was written by
They do a
Dan.
great
No,
job.
I'm just kidding. I'm sure the newspapers.
It said that it was proposing to have only 99 parking spaces while 277 were required. We asked for a variance on that, and
Right.
they were denied. So they have to build the
So you said
277.
90?
99.
Okay, 99, and
Staff is acknowledging that that's correct.
that is correct. And they wanted a variance that said that they didn't want to increase parking by any, and we denied that variance and made them create 200, he's shaking his head, 277 spots now?
For total, yeah.
Okay, why are you shaking your head?
I'd have to go back and check. They had 99 originally with that school. I think they may have proposed maybe 10 or 20 more. I'd have to check to see exactly what they were submitting, but 99, whether that was existing or there was existing plus a few made 99, I don't remember that.
I believe-
We can go back and check, though, if that's an issue.
But the thing is that there was not a variance granted, so they had to
We
construct parking
forced
to
them
code.
to put parking to code, which is, we're certain that it is 277 spots.
No, sir, I need to pull the site plan. We can go do that right now if you'd like. We can check that on site.
So if
on
these
site.
numbers are close, and my point is that we've required them to questionably overpark that lot, that school, for their needs. And depending on what these numbers say, I would be tempted to say that I think the parking in that school should be adequate for almost any event that they're going to have. So, and I'll just wait to continue on that once I get the solid numbers. Thank you, Mayor.
So you would like, staff's going to get that? Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Councilman Thornhill?
This ordinance, is this 24 hours around the clock, or is this just during certain events, or? I mean, is this going to be an ordinance that's there on Sundays as well as Mondays? Anybody tell me?
Yes.
Yeah, it's every day of the week.
Yep. That's the way it's drawn.
24/7.
Okay, I guess I'm just having a little concern there that I could see some time factors in there, but not so much every day of the week around the clock. So I'm not sure how this ordinance would impact anything on a Sunday afternoon.
Well, actually, even during the school week. The only time it would really have an effect is if there's, I don't know if it ever would, but if they have some type of a large event that's going to create.
Yeah.
The other thing I can see, and it does happen at almost any school we have in any city, actually, even if you have the number of required spaces or even more than what you actually need, sometimes people want to park where it's convenient to get in and out, and so instead of, in some of the parking spaces, if I remember correctly, are around the back of the school, and there are different places in the school, so at pickup times and drop-off times, there could be significant people parking on the street so that they don't have to pull in there, and they pick their kids up out there and then pull out.
Right, both of our kids went to that school, and I had to pick them up every day, and I know exactly what you're talking about, but this ordinance looks like it addresses every day, 24 hours, 7 days a week, and I'm not sure that's something I could support. I could see maybe during a school time frame, maybe, or a special event, but not around, no.
Then you could restructure it for...
Yeah, I guess the way this is written tonight, I'm not sure I could support it, but I'll listen to some more discussion by the council.
Right. Councilman Watt?
Was the point that, the way I took it, the point was not so much that there would be a lot of cars parked on the street during school events, but just the fact that the school is going to be there and open and increase traffic on the street, that the people were concerned about if people were parked on the street, the increased amount of traffic on the street, that it might be an issue, I don't know, with width of the street if people are parking there and trying to get back and forth both ways.
Yeah,
on the street.
My understanding, Kevin's here, he can probably confirm this or correct it if I'm wrong, was that the issue, as expressed by the residents that requested it, was that with cars parked on both sides of the street, there was less than adequate or problematic distance for cars to pass each other if they were going in both directions. And I think that was the main concern that was brought up. Well, Kevin, if there was anything else more than that that was expressed by the residents or not?
Yes, that was a major concern for the residents that spoke as they brought their concerns forward, was that with vehicles parked along both sides, you have additionally the concerns for pedestrians crossing the street during conditions like that. To address that is basically to say that if you allow parking on the east side, they would actually have to cross from between vehicles, and they would. Please consider that, is that they would cross wherever it was most convenient between vehicles into traffic moving both ways, and then across again to any vehicles that happen to be pulling in or pulling out on the west side. That was in addition to the concerns for just accessing the road, having vehicles trying to maneuver north and south on the roadway at congested periods in time.
Yeah, but I guess that's a valid issue during school. What's the reason for that on Saturday?
Well, there's no telling exactly when school events would be scheduled, and oftentimes a school event will actually generate quite a bit of vehicle traffic. And as pointed out, this is middle school, so the vehicles will be parents driving their kids in, possibly leaving and then coming back. That generates more trips than typically, like a high school student just coming to the campus as such. It's major. Basically, a major concern is for that vehicle traffic in and out at any time. Perhaps not on Sundays. I don't think the schools typically have events occurring there. But it's beyond just the period of time in which you might have regular hours of pickup and drop off of students, but actually during the events that occur at the school, which may be after hours and definitely on weekends. So
That scenario that argument could possibly be made for every school in the city.
we have taken actions at other schools where congestion has become an issue along these lines. We do have areas, roadways that are parking is prohibited for these concerns.
We've got a couple of those in existence right now, I believe, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
What schools?
I think Huffines is that way, isn't it?
Huffines was the example that first came to my mind is that we've worked at that location on a couple of occasions with a couple items in order to reduce the congestion that occurs and increase the safety of the
You're referring to Valley Parkway?
events.
Yep.
Yes.
Valley Parkway.
Parking wasn't an issue there, though, was it?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, they were parking directly on Valley.
Oh, it was, I used to drive it, and it was terrible. I mean, in the mornings and in the afternoons, and then even if they have special events during the day or stuff, it's just people tend to park the most convenient, closest place where they can jump out of their car, run in. And,
But was parking allowed, was it allowed on Valley at the time?
yes. Initially.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and look at that. My recollection is that they were parking in the lanes of traffic there, but...
Right.
That's what he said.
Because there's not parking allowed on
Technically,
Valley.
You're not supposed to be able to
That
park in
section.
a lane of traffic, so we kind of belt and suspended
I
the
see what you're saying.
existing law.
So they were parking there, but they were parking there illegally.
That's my recollection, Greg. I'd have
Is that
to
true,
go
Chief?
back.
They were, because there was no sign prohibiting it. It was always a street listed as one of those where no stopping, standing, or parking was allowed, but only if the sign's posted. And previous to that, they were not posted, so technically it was legal.
Somewhat different.
But you're right, it could be made at many of the schools throughout, and it has been at a couple of them we've enforced or put the signage up. was thinking there was another school somewhere, too. It is not Hedrick? Doesn't Hedrick have some no parking areas? I think Hedrick has some no parking areas on Bel Air, if I'm not mistaken.
I think where it came up before was on South Valley Parkway over, seemed like we had some questions about parking restrictions, and that name of that school is escaping me, over by Tom Thumb. Is it Southridge?
Parkway.
Parkway is, I believe, the one you're referring to. We had
Maybe, but that was inside the subdivision that was adjacent to
correct. And what was
school. I don't remember what we did there.
If I may elucidate then, what we actually did not take action on that one because the location, they were actually parking along the curb line next to the campus. And what was actually considered at that point was that perhaps if we prohibited parking there on that side, that it would simply shift the parking to the north side, requiring that the students get out and cross the street amongst that traffic. So we did not actually take action on that one. But that was, again, one of the major concerns there was that the impact of having students crossing roadways while there's a considerable amount of congestion and movement of the vehicles on those roadways.
Anyone else have any questions of him for you?
But this is 800 feet, right? Where?
The existing, are you asking about the existing ordinance?
The proposed is 800 feet?
The proposed is the entire length of the east side of Savage Street from Oak Ridge up to Port Drive, and from 350 feet south of Sander Drive all the way to Oak Ridge on the west side. This is an
I agree with
extension
some of the scenarios you brought up earlier in other schools, but this seems very lengthy and excessive compared to those other schools.
Well, and the point that jumps out in my head is comparing these to the other schools, the other streets that we're talking about are much higher volume streets, if I'm not mistaken. Talk about Valley Parkway.
Yes.
Bel Air.
Talking about
They are
Bel Air.
typically daily use, and volumes are fairly high in the other locations. What we expect is that when this becomes a school again, this is the most direct route in and out of this location and to the school campus. So what we expect to see is very high use at peak periods. And again, those peak periods are during regular hours, pick up and drop off, but also during the events.
So, and of course, the rest of the council can speak, but having said that, what Councilman Thornhill is alluding to might make a lot of sense.
A time-based restriction?
Correct.
Yeah. I think if you were to go that route, you'd probably have to focus it on Sundays, perhaps, and then times after probably 11 p.m. during weekdays, ceasing sometime probably around 6 a.m. There's events that could go on past 9, 10 o'clock.
Okay, does anybody else have any questions from him right now, and then we'll move on. We can always come back.
What's the capacity of the school?
That I don't know.
Don't have an occupant load here on this site plan, but I do have the answers to the questions you were asking before. The square footage of the school is 78,490. The proposed minimum, or the existing parking provided on the initial plan was 99. The required parking is 277, and that is exactly the number that they put on the final site plan. The difference being that the assembly area of the auditorium or the gymnasium was 624 seats, and that's a 1 per 3 seat ratio, plus a 1 per classroom, plus 6 spaces, totaled the 277, but they initially came in with 99. But the final plan is 277.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Weiss, did you have anything else?
I was going to ask Chief Lasky if we allowed the parking on both sides of the street, you used to be able to get a truck through there.
A lot of that depends on exactly where you're talking about and, you know, the differences between the engine and the ladder truck. The ladder truck, you've got to extend your jacks, which ends up about 16 feet wide. Eric has done a great job with his staff making sure we've got that clearance with their background in fire service. So it really depends, I mean, without looking at it right now.
Could staff possibly, could we put that one aerial that shows the current existing no parking zone up there on the so make sure everyone is familiar with that. Here it comes. Turn it on.
Is there any issue with that?
As you can see on the screen here, it shows.
Inconclusive.
Inconclusive, I like that.
Tim, if you would, please bring up the overhead.
Well, Council, you have it in your back up there, but you can see there in one of the things I have, there we go. The shaded, the dark area, if I understand correctly, on both sides that is shaded is currently no parking.
Correct.
Because I know that 90-degree turn there is would be a very difficult turn to make if you did allow parking there. Okay.
You want to see the other side? No.
Well, the other one, if you'll slide that down just a little bit, the other one, all it does is extends it all the way to the end of the street.
On the east side and extend it a little bit further on the west side.
Correct. I'm sorry, I should have. Very good. Very good. Thank you.
Is that visible to all?
Anything else?
And so the school sits right between the first two bumps and the second two little bumps there on the left, is that right? Aren't those the driveways into the school?
The driveway openings show the school location.
Right. Actually, the lot for the school comes down almost to the corner.
It does.
Yeah. But that's all parking right in there, and because it's a little triangular piece of property there.
To the south end of the property, yes.
Yeah. Councilman Grana, did you have any questions?
No, but to Councilman Tierney's original question about the number of parking spaces, there were 99 existing spaces, and they didn't want to do the additional 178 spaces, which would have brought it up to 277. And I'm getting that from page 69 of the March 3rd PDF on the backup material. So, same as the article.
That's what Mr. Paris confirmed.
Yeah. And I don't have anything else.
Councilman Durham?
I think the question was that it's going to have basically the same student population that they have at Delay, and Delay doesn't have 99 spots, is what, if I remember right, a comment that was made. And it really hadn't been an issue there, and except for parents dropping off and in the mornings and the afternoon, and at Hedrick on Bel Air, the problem was buses stopping in the roadway and letting kids out, and that was taken care of, and it didn't become an issue anymore. I think this is overkill, but I'm not going to be opposed to it. Because if we need to fix it, we'll just fix it later. It's not going to be an issue probably from the parent side, because they're going to still drop off their kids in a parking lane or a no parking lane. That's all I have. And with that, I move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion to approve by Councilman Durham and a second by Councilman, Guerrero.
Okay, this is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Louisville, Texas, amending Chapter 15, Article 4, Section 15-126 of the City Code, providing certain parking restrictions on Savage Street, providing a penalty clause, providing for severability, providing a repealer, providing an effective date, and declaring an emergency.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
3-2.
I would say, Mayor, that it appears that it's passed through too, but I would say, this was kind of brought on by the citizens in the area. I would like to say that if after passing this, that it has to be read 2 more times, correct? That once the school is open, if this turns out to be an inconvenience, and we start to hear from citizens that we possibly bring this back and look at maybe time restrictions that were brought up before.
But what Mayor Pro Tem Watts is referring to is that because it did not, it's an ordinance, and because it did not pass by a 4/5 margin, then it must be brought back to council 2 more times and read. It does not have to be voted on again, but it will have to be read 2 more times before it can become existing. And you got the vote count, Julie? Thank you. Okay. Item number 8 is consideration of an ordinance amending the Louisville City Code, Chapter 7, Article 5, relating to special events. Staff has identified the need to amend the current requirements related to special events ordinance. The amendment includes new language outlining inspection regulations, new language addressing indemnification requirements for governmental entities and state institutions, and adding new definitions. Recommendation is the City Council approve the proposed ordinance as set forth in the caption above. Councilman Tierney.
Mayor, I'm fine with this. Looks like we're tightening up on a few things, and if nobody has anything, I'll make a motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve by Councilman Tierney.
Second.
Second by Councilman Thornhill. Any discussion?
Okay, I'll read the caption. It's an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Louisville, Texas, amending the Louisville City Code, Chapter 7, Article 5, Special Events, by clarifying that inspections may be performed at any time during the special event, addressing indemnification requirements for government entities and state institutions, and adding several definitions, providing for a repealer, providing for severability, providing a penalty, providing an effective date, and declaring an emergency.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we're down to reports. Mika? Bob? Chief? Linda?
It just looks like it's...
You sure? Donna might have something. Chief? You got anything? Okay. Nothing? Lake's still up there, though, isn't it? Hanging in there. Good. Donna, do you have anything you'd like to say? Oh.
Maverick.
I like that. That was good. Go Mavs.
Maverick.
Brenda, do you have anything? Mr. Ferris, you have anything?
You all watching the man?
Mr. Backer? Councilman Durham? Councilman Grennan?
Just that we have our retreat this week in town, and citizens can look up the agenda and come sit in on it and be a part of the retreat. Thursday afternoon, Friday morning was the open work sessions, and then Saturday from 9 to about 2:30 at the Hilton Garden Inn. That's it.
Councilman
Thank you.
Watt?
Nothing.
City Manager?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Thornhill?
We get a lot of responses on the gas drilling input from the citizens.
Anybody that can answer, I haven't seen them.
We had probably 6 or 8, and the time period closed a few days ago. We're compiling those and looking at them, and we'll be forwarding those. But probably 6 or 8 responses. Majority of them are in favor of what we're doing. Some had a few suggestions. We're looking at those, but in general, good response.
Councilman Tierney?
Yes, Mayor, I'd just like to recognize our former mayor, who was named the Citizen of the Year from the Louisville Chamber of Commerce for last year. So congratulations to Mayor Carey. Good job and well-deserved.
Yes, it was. Excellent. Counselor?
No, sir.
Julie? Okay. In accordance with Texas Government Code, Subchapter D, Section 551.072, real estate property acquisition, and Section 551.0877, economic development, deliberating regarding economic development negotiations, we convene in closed session.
We didn't have anything, so we're back.
Okay, I'll call it back into order. Is there any action to be taken, council?
Move to adjourn.
Second. I have a motion to adjourn by, Councilman Watts, a second by Councilman Durham. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.